Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. We are ready to dive back into Descent, Legends of the Dark from Fantasy Flight Games. We'll pick things up exactly where we left them off in the last video. If you haven't checked out my unboxing video, setup, Part 1 and Part 2, I'll put the whole showcase in a link in the top right hand corner right now so you can get yourself caught up to where we currently are right this moment. And we're going to be diving straight into the darkness phase as we ended off all of our hero actions at the end of the last video. Now the one thing I want to mention is around a mistake I made, and this is likely due to the fact that I've played a number of games similar to this where sometimes interacting with tokens requires an action. Well, in part number 2 I slipped up, and when we interacted with the site tokens that were in these areas right here, I had actual heroes use an action to do this, but as we know from part number 1, they are just immediately resolved without the spending of an action. So really at the end of the day, I just kind of hurt myself more than anything else by burning actions I didn't have to spend. But note that you do not have to spend an actual action from your allotment on any site tokens. They just reveal the second you're adjacent to them, and we knew this from part 1 and setup. Just a slip on my part. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into that darkness phase. Back inside the app, just before we hit the end phase button, I want to show you a couple things. First off, in the top left-hand corner, it states the final objective is to defeat Necrul. So we will be forcefully trying to defeat this individual. But one thing that's worth noting is if you click on that actual enemy, currently that enemy has 65 health and 3 shields for defense. So yeah, I got a funny feeling we're probably not going to be able to pull this off without getting hammered into the ground. But who knows? Maybe we actually do need to fully defeat this thing. I don't know. But looking at how much health I need to take off this thing to win, I'm starting to wonder whether there's things around here I need to interact with in order to help me out. I don't know. But clicking on some of the objects inside the area, like for instance the chest, we know we could potentially try and unlock this. I've got Cyrus in position to try and do this. Maybe there's something inside that could help us. Maybe there's nothing in terms of what we need for this battle. There's also the cauldron over here, which if I click on states a hero can interact with a search inside of this cauldron, which could be handy. I don't know if there's something in there that's useful, but maybe. And then in terms of the book sitting there on the table or the script, there's nothing there that we can really interact with at this point in time. And of course we have the tree and we have the barricades that we're trying to stay away from, but we're perfectly fine if the enemy decides to be adjacent to the barricades to get that extra hit. So without further ado, let's go ahead and end the phase now that we know a little bit more about where we're at current state and see what the app is ready to throw at us. Heading into the darkness phase. Alright, it says resolve your infection and terror, and each hero may discard 1 fatigue. Well, I have 1 fatigue on Cyrus's hero card, and I have 1 fatigue on Varix's hero card, so both of those will be removed. Now, I removed the fatigue token from Varix because there's no negative on that side. That's actually a good thing. But on Cyrus's side, you can see that having a fatigue token on him is actually a good thing if it's on his hero card because it allows him to use his Phoenix Spawn as a unique action. You can see there's an arrowhead there next to the 1, seeing that as an action, I could take this to discard the amount of fatigue that's on this hero card and having to flip it over, but then I get 2 damage for each fatigue. So at best, with 3 fatigue maximum, I could get 6 damage off that, which is not bad. So we'll go ahead and hold off on removing fatigue from Cyrus, head back into the app and hit continue, and now Necrul is going to target Varix. It says the red mist around the Blood Witch, Necrul, rise and churns. After the defense, each hero within 3 spaces of the witch scars, each card with 1 or more fatigue on it. Then they discard 1 fatigue from each card. Oh wow, so basically the more times we use cards that will gather fatigue on our cards, Necrul's going to use that to his advantage to scar us for going that extra step to try and basically get the best out of our character. So that's quite interesting. It also has a movement here of 1, range of 4, and an attack value of 5. Taking a look at the current layout of the board, Necrul is actually going to try and move 1 space towards, which will put it adjacent to where that book is on the table, which is also going to be adjacent to Cyrus. So that would be right there if it was trying to go after Varix, which it is. That's the target currently, but the range is 4. So from that position, if you count spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 5 spaces to get to Varix even after Necrul uses 1 movement from where that individual is currently sitting. So the problem with this is the fact that Varix no longer becomes the target. The target then changes over to Cyrus, who's closer, and again is within range, but these enemies are smart and will try to back up as much as they can while still staying within their range requirement. So basically, Necrul here, the witch, is going to move towards us, basically southeast, or I should say southwest, heading down to the bottom left corner of the screen by 1, putting it right in front of the cauldron. So Necrul is throwing a 5 damage attack at Cyrus. Cyrus is going to use the orange defense die here and make a roll and see how much we can block. All right, so we got 2 successes. They're clean. Do we have anything we can do to add to this? No, we don't. So Cyrus will be taking 3 damage, dropping him from 6 down to 3. Cyrus had his health dial drop from 6 down to 3. Let's head back inside the app and check out that nasty ability that Necrul has. So this ability is going to actually impact Cyrus, and it's unfortunate because there was nothing I could do to stop this. Remember when we went to the darkness phase and I had the opportunity to get rid of fatigue, and I chose not to get rid of it off of Cyrus's card because I wanted to kind of accumulate damage? Well, Necrul enjoys that, and afterwards I found out this nasty ability in the app here that states after the defense, each hero within 3 spaces is going to be scarred for each card with 1 or more fatigue on it, and then they get to discard the fatigue from each card. So basically, he's not even allowing me to power up on top of it. He's not only going to scar me, he's going to take away the fatigue that I'm trying to build up. So Cyrus is impacted, but Varix is not, because Varix is way more than 3 spaces away and doesn't actually have any fatigue anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered even if he was close by. But that fatigue token on Cyrus is basically going to come off, and a scar is going on. And when conditions start landing on your cards, besides just fatigue, this is where things get really interesting. And these conditions are not positive ones. The scar condition says when a scarred card flips, the individual will suffer 2 damage. That is certainly going to lead Cyrus down a path of potentially getting a major injury, which is something I really don't want to happen. We'll head back inside the app now and hit done as the attack has been finished, and let's see what happens next. It says a massive fireball shoots out of the shimmering red surface. It explodes with a blast powerful enough to knock you off your feet. Each hero on or adjacent to a highlighted space flips 1 card with a scar token on it. So it actually literally targets a particular tile. So thankfully, my heroes, based on what this is stating, are actually outside of range of this tile. We are nowhere adjacent or on this particular tile. So we are safe for now. But now we know that this is going to, I'm assuming, randomly be targeted around the tile. We'll be dancing around this trying to avoid it. We'll go ahead and hit continue, and it states, oh no, spawn the following enemies. We have a bandit and a fae, and this is really interesting. So you might be thinking in Descent you're progressing forward and nothing behind you is ever going to show up. Well, this just proved otherwise. Stuff is going to show up behind you. So if you're playing through the game and you're thinking of tearing down a whole bunch from behind to make room, the app may call on you to actually place enemies behind you in areas you thought you already covered and were cleaned out. Because you know what? Enemies are also smart and will try to come from behind and attack you. Here's the current state of the board with those 2 enemies showing up on the platform. Let's head back in the app and hit continue, find out what else happens, if anything. Back inside the app, we'll hit continue. It says Necrul's reinforcements will continue to arrive until she is defeated. This is going to become a serious problem. All right, we'll hit continue. It says, twisting their arms together, the Fae create a strange effigy with their hands. All right. Yikes, that does not sound good. Okay, we're heading back into the hero phase, and this certainly throws a wrench into my plan to just focus on the witch only, as now I have to deal with enemies coming from behind me. So, yeah, strategy. So taking a look at the map currently, I think I'm going to have Varix move right up against where the witch is. It'll take 1 maneuver action and then another maneuver action to get the 6 movement I need to get over there. I don't want to be beside the barricades currently, and I also don't want to be lingering so far behind the reinforcements start hitting me on the next enemy phase. I'd like to stay out of range for at least 1 round, and then if I have to travel backwards to deal with them, so be it. So let's see how much damage we can get onto Necrul while we have a chance. Varix now creeps up behind the witch and is going to make an attack. Back inside the app, we'll go ahead and drag from Varix over to the witch as we're going to try to make an attack here. We're going to use the war bell, which is currently equipped. The good news with this, if I get surges, I can really get some extra damage, plus I'll be able to expose the enemy, which should hopefully help me. Alright, so it says price to pay. During the attack, subtract 1 success, or each hero within 3 spaces of this enemy scars 1 card. Well, that's That's really nasty. Okay, so we're losing a success right out of the gates. That's pretty bad. Now you'll notice the accrual still has, or it looks like already has been weakened, right? It's down to 65, could have been worse. Probably 100 or something is where it probably typically resides, but it has a shield strength of 5. Oh my, like how am I gonna get through that? Now, yeah, that's gonna be really, really tough. And I don't even know, and this makes me start to believe, and again, guys, this is the first time I'm running into this witch. It's starting to make me believe that maybe I should be focusing on interacting with the chest and the cauldron first to see if there's something powerful enough in one of those two things that maybe could help with this, because I feel like this is an uphill battle that I just can't win. But I've already committed to one attack, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll see how things go. So let's roll our blue die here. Let's see what happens. So I got myself a surge and a success. So I guess that's a good news, bad news situation. The one success I got basically wipes away and is gone. Now, if I decided to keep the success, then I just have to go ahead and I have to deal a scar to anybody within 3 spaces, which would actually be all my heroes. So let's not do that. I'll just ditch one of the successes. I will turn this surge into the 2 successes and the 1 expose, and we'll just kind of see what this does. So inside the app, we'll hit 2. We'll go ahead and expose and confirm the hit. Okay, so we got 6 damage through. And the weapon we use, which has Crush as a damage type, did not reveal a weakness. So that's not Necrul's weakness, unfortunately. We'll hit continue, and that's going to do it for Varrix's turn fully. We now need to think about Cyrus, and maybe that chest is what we need to look at opening. After thinking about it some more, I've kind of changed my thought process on what I want to do here. Number one, I noticed that this witch's health overall is not at full capacity. So whatever it was messing around with over here on this side of the board obviously wasn't a positive for it based on what we've read in the story and seen inside the app. Also, it targeted a space that was very close to the cauldron, which I find interesting. It's almost as if it was trying to defend that area. So if I'm not interpreting this mistakenly, I think what I'm going to do is have Cyrus not interact with the chest, beeline it for that cauldron, and I'll try to put him in a position where he's not adjacent to the barricades, and hope whatever we get from the cauldron, crossing our fingers, is what we need to get rid of this Necrul witch. So just like that, we use 4 movement for Cyrus to get in position beside the cauldron. Let's interact with it and cross our fingers. Inside the app, we'll go ahead and have Cyrus interact with the cauldron, stretching it all the way over there. And it says the sludge at the bottom of the cauldron is no use to anyone in its current state, but perhaps it could yet be revived with a vigorous stirring and the addition of common ingredients. Ooh, interesting. Okay, agility is what we're testing, and rats, unfortunately, -1 off Cyrus as a start for this test, so that's not a plus. Let's go ahead and roll our 2 black dice and see if we can add to this, hopefully in a positive way. We got ourselves what looks to be 3 successes, but you can basically knock one of them off, so 2 successes and a surge. What can I use that surge for? Well, I can add a success, and then I can move 1 fatigue from one card to the other, but I don't have any. So basically, 3 successes. Let's go inside the app, go 1, 2, 3. I don't know if this is enough. It probably isn't. The substance in the cauldron has not yet been brought back to usability. Okay, you know what? I maneuvered, I interacted with this cauldron. We're doing it again. I'm going to interact with this cauldron a second time and see if we can make use of this thing and whatever it might be able to do. Now, I still have that -1 hanging over me, but let's just push through this. Hey, that's a lot better. 5 successes, that's crazy. And then we got 2 advantages. So, do I really want to make sure this works? Kinda. I kinda do. And you know what? Taking the 2 fatigue, I could strategically place them on Cyrus's hero card to potentially bump up towards the Phoenix Bond attack. So, and the fact that I can't get another scar condition on the card that I have right now for his hero card, this is a perfect time to do it. So let's go ahead and take 2 fatigue, convert those. So now we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, -1 is 6. So we got 6 successes going in. I'm pretty happy with that. Plus we just powered up his ability a little bit more. So 6 successes in the app. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Continue. A pinch of ash is the last step in revitalizing the potion. Now richly colored liquid bubbles sluggishly in the bottom of the cauldron, but there is but a bottle's worth. Gain the following cards. 1 Phoenix Ash Potion. Check this out. Phoenix Ash Potion. Before you are wounded, set your health dial to 4 instead. That is definitely going to be a handy thing to have for Cyrus, seeing as he's down to 3 health and is close to getting another wound. Heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit continue. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Okay, and the cauldron is now done, but I've already burnt all my actions. I'll go ahead and click on the cauldron in the app just to see what it says. It says we can still interact with it. I have no idea whether or not there's any reason to interact with it any further or not. I think we've probably gotten what we need from that, but I thought there might be something in there that could very much damage this enemy that's extremely high up on the health count, but it didn't pan out that way. There could be something in the chest that I left, or there might be nothing of use in either of them, and this is just a giant distraction, and I should be focusing on attacking. So this is the fun of the game. You're not going to know exactly what to do, and that's just like it is in real life. If your real life involves things like cauldrons and barricades and scripts and witches and cauldrons, yeah, I mean, it sounds like right up the alley that everyone would be familiar with, I feel. All right, so heading back inside the app, we are going to go ahead and end this phase. I'm not really looking forward to this because I feel like a lot of pain is coming our way, but let's do it. Let's hit the end phase. We're heading into the darkness phase now, and what is going to happen? So we can discard some fatigue. Do I want to discard anything off of Cyrus? No. I'm happy with the 2 fatigue on the card. I'm doing that on purpose, so not going to do it. Nothing on Varix. We can skip right past this, hitting continue, and we're back to the witch, who is targeting Varix this time and is not going to have any trouble. Basically, all that's going to happen is Necruel is going to move 1 space to the north. It's the furthest it can move. It's trying to just get as far away while doing a range shot. So, the unfortunate thing around this is, actually, scarring, this ability around scarring for defense will not apply at all because I don't have any cards that have fatigue on them that don't currently already have a scar on them. So, not going to apply here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move. I feel like she's pretty upset that we are messing around with her cauldron and is really looking forward to throwing 4 damage at us. She moves a space away, turns around, and begins to make a range attack against Varix. Varix is going to be using the orange die. We're going to be hoping we can block as much of the 4 damage that's coming our way right now. So here we go. What do we get? We have 2 advantages. All right, so we could potentially convert those to successes by placing fatigue. Eesh, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm going to probably do this. Because if I take 4 damage, that's half my health. That's a lot. I really don't want that to happen. I do have a potion. I have a vigor potion, which I haven't used yet. So yeah, I'll take the fatigue. I'll take the fatigue. So 2 fatigue, and I'm going to choose to place a fatigue on Varix's hero card, both of them. Because I don't see myself trying to gain any surge abilities from the survivor skill that Varix has anytime soon. I typically seem to get them on the blue die when I roll for attacks. So that's going to be it. And of course I have to take the damage that got through. So 2 blocking 4. I got 2 damage coming through, so 8 down to 6. So this is the current state of things, and because I went ahead and took fatigue, in the end, the ability on Necruel is going to place a scar on Varix's hero card. So that's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is, and we'll head back inside the app. Alright, and I'm sure inside this app, it's next going to tell us that the other individuals' reinforcements are going to be activating. We'll go ahead and hit done, and what does it say? The fear appear disappointed that you did not attack and release their conjoined hands that form the strange effigy. Oh, weird. Okay, so they're upset about that? I don't like that. Okay, so flying. While moving, this enemy ignores elevation, terrain, and underlays and cannot be impeded. Oh my gosh. After the defense, the target either discards 1 focus token or suffers 2 fatigue. Yikes. It's going to be moving 3 spaces and it's going to be trying to hit somebody from range. I believe I'm outside of all this, so I think I'm going to be safe, but we'll double check. Yeah, taking a look at the game board right now, with 3 movement for the Fae, it would just get to the second stair going up, which is not that far. So that's all it's going to do. It's just going to move towards our heroes, with the end result being it's trying to go after the hero with the least health right now because it can't make an attack on its target, Varix, and it can't get to Cyrus either. Back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done. The bandit is now going to go. The bandit has a movement of 3, range of 2, and attack of 4. It says during the defense, the first time the hero places a fatigue on a card, they also scar it. All right, let's go ahead and move this. I'm 100% positive there's no way we're getting targeted by this. Now, this is a really great example of how individuals can maneuver on stairs and get up the staircase without taking the long way around. So you can see right now the bandit's right adjacent to a stair, so you'd think it would just head directly south onto the first step, but according to the game rules, it can actually go to the first step or to the adjacent next step up. It just can't go all the way to the top level. So I can go ahead and go diagonally right into this space with the Fae and move through it so long as I have enough movement to keep going. I just can't stop in that same space because, well, you can't. So in this case, I can have this individual go here and then start plotting its course from there. So in the end, the bandit ends up getting up on top of the platform, but again, with range 2, not going to happen, no attacks. Heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done, and it states a massive fireball shoots out of the shimmering red surface. It explodes with a blast powerful enough to knock you off your feet. Each hero on or adjacent to this space is going to flip a card with a scar token on it. Okay, so that space is just, oh no, it's just north of the tree, which actually ends up being adjacent to where Cyrus is. So Cyrus will be going ahead and flipping his hero card even though he doesn't want to, which means not only does the scar hit me, doesn't completely destroy me yet, it'll knock me from a 3 down to a 1 for health, but it wipes out the 2 fatigue tokens I have on the card. And that's really, really unfortunate timing because on the next hero phase, I was planning on actually letting that damage go through on the Phoenix Bond ability, but I'm not going to be able to now. So let's go ahead and take the scar off, flip the hero card over, wipe the fatigue away, and knock her health from 3 to 1. It seems that I may need to use that Phoenix Ash potion if things continue to trend downwards towards another wound for Cyrus. All right, back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit continue after that, and oh my gosh, there's more enemies coming. Are you serious? Okay, so we have another bandit landing pretty much where the other bandit was, but this one is going to have a teal base to it. We'll go ahead and hit continue, and it says, Necruel's reinforcements will continue to arrive until she is defeated. Wow, this is getting more and more stressful. The bandit snickers, glancing toward one of the chests. Oh no. No. Don't tell me stuff like this. If did I actually set Cyrus beside that chest, not only to try and open it, and then changed my mind and went to the cauldron, and now that bandit is kind of like laughing while he sees the chest sitting there? It's like he knows something I don't. Again, is the app trying to lead me sideways here, or is it trying to hint that there's something really, really powerful and unique and something we really need to get past this? We'll go ahead and hit continue, and because of that snickering at the chest, I am definitely going to make that a priority in this hero phase to get over there and try and open that up. So here's the thing, Varric seems to have a decent attack ability with that Warbell. I think I'm going to continue to keep him there and do attack, seeing as his movement's not that great. He only gets 3 allotment for every move action, and rather have Cyrus actually head as far away as possible towards the chest, although I also have to make sure I'm not next to the barricade so I get additional damage that I don't want to see. So we'll go ahead with Cyrus, and currently with 4 movement, I can get beside the chest and be safe. With Cyrus now in position, we're going to go inside the app here, drag from his portrait to the chest. I have 2 actions I can spend if I need to. Ooh, I'm testing might. I did not expect that. Well, at least both my characters were -1 success on might, so it doesn't matter which one got there. I would have been the same predicament, but I'm going to take 2 black dice right now and hope we can add to this roll in a positive way. Come on, we got to open this chest up. Oh my gosh, these things rolled right underneath. We got ourselves 5 clean successes. I'm pretty okay with that. I'll just bring these over so you guys can actually see them because they kind of went flying off screen. But we're going to go ahead and input that into the app right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's see if that is enough. Oh, sorry. Well, -1, 4. And hit continue. You are closer to opening the chest, but there is still some effort required. All right, well, let's go ahead and burn another action here because we're running out of time and there's got to be something worthwhile in that chest. All right, so we got ourselves 4 successes. We got a surge, which means I can convert that to a 5th success. I can move 1 fatigue if I want, but I don't have any currently, but I lose 1. So in the end, another 4 goes through. So let's go ahead with Cyrus in the app, drag him over to the chest, go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Please, hopefully this will do it. The following has been added to your inventory to be used later. 13 metal, 1 Teros from the metallic mask, 12 cloth, and 1 Embrose from the bone laurel, and a reinforced haft recipe. Okay, that is not necessarily exactly what I wanted. So that chest is going to disappear, and that enemy was evil for doing that. Well, it seems I've been duped yet again. Not only did the cauldron not pan out for anything we can use right now in this battle, but the chest gave me nothing. I could have waited on both of those things. So we need to focus back on fighting again. So I need to have Variks move within range to make an attack. So he's going to move 1 space forward. Heading back inside the app, Variks is going to go ahead and make an attack against the Witch, and we currently select our weapon, which is the Warbell. Click on that, and it says price to pay. During the attack, subtract a success, or each hero within 3 spaces of the enemy gets a scar on 1 card. I don't want the scars anymore. Those are bad, so let's just subtract a success going in. So I'm going to go ahead and roll here for the Warbell. We're really hoping for a good result. And we got ourselves a advantage and a success. Not exactly the best result on the die ever, because one of the successes is a wash, and we only got 1 advantage. And based on my current loadout for Variks, I have 2 fatigue, which means I can't use his survivor ability to generate a surge because I don't have enough space on my hero card to add more fatigue, so I can't get the advantage of the Warbell. So this is really nasty. So this is going to only allow me to put 1 on if I go ahead and take 1 fatigue, which I will do. I'll take 1 fatigue in order to place onto Variks' card. Hero card, he now has a maximum of 3 there, plus the scar. So that's pretty nasty. And I got 2 successes minus the 1 for this ability inside the app. So just 1 success going in, and we do get to expose the enemy. So we'll go ahead and do that. I don't know if that's going to really do too much, but you never want to forget those abilities. And we'll hit confirm. 1 damage. Wow. Massive, massive damage right there. We'll go ahead and hit continue. So this is going to become a problem. This is a big time problem. The fact that I can't generate what I want to do in this turn, my attacks are going to be quite weak. So I'm almost wondering, do I purposely flip my hero card to ready to get rid of a scar, which will hit me for 2, but then clean up all of my fatigue so that I'm able to, I don't know, after looking at the other side of Variks' card, it's a healing side for that ability, which is nice to have, but being able to generate surges I think is even better. Plus the fact the scar that's sitting on top of the hero card right now, we know based on the ability from the Witch that it's going to forcefully flip our card at some point, probably due to that tile that keeps on getting targeted and having anybody with a scar within range of that have them flip over their card. So I think it's going to happen already just as a given. So I'm going to stay put and just continue attacking even if the attacks are pretty light. So let's go ahead and roll for another attack here. And inside the app, first off, we'll drag from the portrait to the Witch. We'll say Warbell still, and we're rolling again. We have a -1 on this, and we got ourselves 1 surge. All right, nice. So 1 surge is going to allow us to get 2 successes. So that basically gets reduced down to 1, but we do get to expose our enemy again. So we'll go ahead and add that to the pile. And actually, in hindsight, I just realized I shouldn't have exposed the enemy on the last attack because I didn't get a surge. So there's that, but it doesn't matter because it's already, it didn't really have too much of an effect overall. So 1 damage going in. We'll go ahead and hit confirm. It's going to be a really pathetic amount. Yep, 1 damage, not so great, and that's going to be it. So Variks' attack were not that successful. Cyrus burned his entire turn checking a chest. We are probably in trouble. Let's go ahead and hit the end phase here. Darkness phase moves in, and now it states we can go ahead and resolve our infection, resolve our terror. A hero can discard 1 fatigue each. So I'll certainly remove 1 off of Variks' hero card, and we'll hit continue. So at this point, the bandit, the orange-based bandit, is going to activate, going after Cyrus. It has a movement of 3, range of 4, an attack of 5. Looking at the game board currently, the orange bandit is at the very front. It's the first one up on the top platform, so it's going to move 3, which will place it right down in between where you guys can't see it off the ledge. So currently where the bandit is right now has a range of 4. It's not enough to reach anybody or attack anybody, so it's just heading in the general direction of the weakest or lowest HP character. So it's going to stop right here. There's no further attacks being done. We'll go ahead inside the app and select done for that bandit. Next up it says Necrul is going to go next, targeting Variks. It says the red mist around the Blood Witch rise and churns. The defense thing is still here. So after the defense, heroes within 3 spaces are going to scar each card with 1 or more fatigue on it and discard the fatigue from the card. 1 movement, 4 range, 4 damage. So Necrul basically takes 1 step back. It's going to throw 4 damage towards Variks. Variks is going to take his defensive die here and roll it, hoping to block as much as possible, and got 2 successes. Is there anything else I can do to bump that up? Not really. So that's going to be a total of 2 damage coming through. So we're going to knock the dial from 6 down to 4 for Varix. So looking at Varix's card, the ability already states that you're going to put a scar on every card that has at least 1 fatigue on it. So we've already got a scar on this hero card, but then it says they discard 1 fatigue from each card. So I'm going to be able to take 1 fatigue off of Varix's card, bring it down to 1. Heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done. And next up is the bandit. This one is the teal bandit. It has the bolt during the defense. The first time the hero places a fatigue on a card, they also scar it. All right, that's not fun. So we're going to go ahead and move him 3, and he's a range of 2 and attack of 4. Looking at the table, this is where the teal bandit lands at the very top of that platform. That's as much as it happens. There's no attacks coming, no defense stuff happening. Abilities don't trigger. We'll go back inside the app. Inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done, and now it is going to be a Fae going after Cyrus. So this is going to be moving 4 and then a range of 3. That still, I don't believe, will put it within the space it needs to make an attack. So this is just going to really be a big, forceful movement. Only thing that's a little bit terrifying about the Fae is it can just fly straight over top of the terrain, which is the table there, and landing on the other side with 4 movement, but it still can't reach Cyrus or anybody else. That's as far as it goes. Inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done, and it says something shoots out of the archway and into the sky, exploding and covering each hero in sizzling acid. Each hero infects 1 card. We'll go ahead and hit continue. The bandit pulls out several knives with one hand and raises a fully loaded repeating crossbow with the other. Yikes, this is not good. Knowing at some point in time, I think this Scar hero card is going to flip over, so I'd rather have the infection sitting on it so it can be washed away. The infection states when it does eventually trigger when time passes, suffer 1 damage for each infected card, so it's nasty. I'm going to go ahead and put the infection token for Cyrus right on the hero card as well. So my primary focus right now is going to be all about the witch. We are going to throw as much damage on that witch as we possibly can because we have already been duped by the chest and the cauldron, thinking there was something there that could help us, and there wasn't. Although technically Cyrus's potion he got is pretty handy. It can keep him away from a wound, which he is very likely to get very soon. But one thing I want to do is I'll activate Cyrus in this hero phase right now. I'm going to have him move 1 towards Necrul in order to get further away from the reinforcements coming down off the platform. Now when he moves here, he's going to be impeded, which means the rest of his movement goes away, but I still have 2 more actions, and I'm planning on attacking, because this is very, very key. We need to put damage on this thing. So let's go ahead to the app and do that attack. Inside the app, Cyrus will be dragged over to Necrul. We're going to do an attack here. We're using the Glimmering Wand this time around, and price to pay again, same thing as we've seen before. We can subtract one of our successes to avoid having scars being placed on cards. I'm definitely going to do this because scars keep giving 2 damage every time things flip. Very, very bad. Okay, so what we're going to do is remember to -1 off our successes. We're now going to roll a die for Cyrus and see how this pans out. Let's get ourselves something that will work really well. Oh, that's a good roll. We got ourselves a success, a surge, and an advantage. This is great. Okay, so we can just tell that that first success is a wipe. It's gone. We have a surge and an advantage to use. So what I could do here, I also have the ability to use fatigue on an empower action on Cyrus's card that says after you roll, convert 1 advantage to 2 successes. So we'll absolutely go ahead and do that. I'm going to use 1 fatigue. It has to go on my hero card, of which I have space for 2. 1 has just gone on, so now there's only space for 1. We have 2 successes now. Technically 3, but we're losing 1. And then the surge ability, I don't think... Actually, we can. We can get another success, and we can move 1 fatigue to a different card. So I'm going to move the fatigue I just placed for the empower on the hero card over to the Glimmering Wand so we can do more of that empowering later on because it's really, really handy. Perfect. Okay, so at this point now, we are also, it's worth mentioning that Cyrus has a minor injury, so he's going to suffer 1 more fatigue. So I'll go ahead right now and just deal with that. I'll put a fatigue on the Glimmering Wand because I can choose it when you're suffering it. So we've got 2 on the Glimmering Wand and none on the hero card for Cyrus. So that in total now is going to give us, I guess we have 2 from the advantage, 1 success on the die, so that's 3, and the surge gives us 4. We -1, so we get 3 successes going through, and I don't believe we have any conditions to add to this, but 3's not bad. So let's go into the app here and go 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to go ahead and hit confirm and see how much damage we get here. 7 damage. That's actually pretty good. Oh, look at that. The weakness got exposed. So it looks like the Glimmering Wand, which is a slash weapon, is Necrul's weakness. So that is important information to note. Let's hit continue. Well, I'm not going to stop there. Back inside the app, let's do the exact same attack again because that Glimmering Wand seems to be a winning ticket. So again, I'm going to subtract 1 success off this to avoid the price to pay ability. We're going to roll here. Oh, 2 advantages and 1 success. This is awesome. So that 1 success will ditch. We're going to use a fatigue here on the hero card for Cyrus in order to convert 1 advantage to 2 successes. So now we've got 2 there. And then we have another advantage, which I can just use 1 fatigue to convert, so that'll give us 3 again. So that's pretty perfect. I don't think there's much else I want to do there. And for that one, I'll actually place it on the Glimmering Wand, I think. So now the Glimmering Wand has a maxed out 3 fatigue, and my hero card for Cyrus has 1 fatigue with room for 1 more for the Empower ability. So in total, we've got 1 success, 2 more, and then another is 4, -1 is 3, and no conditions. So very similar to the last attack, 1, 2, 3. We should get 7 damage here, but we're slowly starting to whittle down the health. There is a chance we could do this. So we'll go ahead and hit continue because that's going to do it for Cyrus. We're going to move over to Varix. Taking a look at Cyrus's card, this is how things ended up, but we have to place 1 more fatigue because we did a second attack, and the minor injury that we have here says we suffer fatigue afterwards. So guess what? We are now maxed out across the hero card and the Glimmering Wand, which means any more fatigue will drip over to the health dial, which is currently at 1, which is not good. Now, if we take a look at the potions, it says during your turn, you and adjacent hero discards up to 3 conditions. So that's actually really good, but we're not adjacent. Oh man, that antidote potion would be really handy because we have 3 conditions between us right now. So maybe I actually maneuver Varix beside, and then actually no, that won't work either because Varix doesn't have that potion. That's not going to work, but I think for the next turn I should probably do that. Varix needs to be right next to the enemy, so we're going to use some of the maneuver points that we have to move 1 space, and then we lose the rest as we're impeded. At this point, we'll head back inside the app here, and we'll see how much damage we can do. So let's drag from Varix over to our Witch, and we are currently using the Warbell, and we still have the price to pay. So still -1 success that I still want to do because I don't want any more scars on my cards. So we're going in here with a D12, and we're rolling this blue die right now to see how we do. Got ourselves a single surge. We can use this to add 2 successes and expose the enemy. So really 1 success and expose the enemy. We could also gain additional surges by taking fatigue. Could do that. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's take an additional 2 fatigue, which will max out my hero card a total of 3. To get another surge, I'll use the surge in order to use my hero card surge, which gives me another success, so that's good. So now we have 2 successes in exposed, but we also get to discard 1 condition, and it's any hero. So I'm going to discard the condition from Cyrus to keep Cyrus from dying. So it doesn't matter what hero it is, so it's the infection condition being discarded right off his card, which is fantastic. That's a great ability. So back in the app, 2 successes, and we also get expose on the enemy. We'll go ahead and hit confirm. We get 7 damage through. Very good. I like this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we're going to do this exact same attack one more time. We're going to go with the Warbell. We're going to roll the die. I am accounting for the -1 success every single time. This time we got ourselves an advantage and a success. So we could convert that advantage. I probably will. So I'll actually place 1 fatigue on the Warbell in order to pull that off. And that'll give us 2 successes, which is not that great overall, really, at all. -1, so we only get 1 success through, but we do expose again, but the enemy's already exposed in the app, so just 1, and then we hit confirm. This is not a very big attack on this one, just 1 damage. Yeah, not too great. All right, so that is much as we can throw on to the enemy currently, or at least the Witch, and now we are going to move into the end phase. Now this is where things could get really, really painful. So inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit end phase. Darkness phase moves in, and the first thing is resolving of infection and terror. Well, good thing we got the infection off Cyrus because it won't affect him, but we do have infection on Varix. And infection is, when time passes, suffer 1 damage for each infected card. So we got to take a damage, so we'll knock Varix down from 4 to 3. Everyone gets to go ahead and discard 1 fatigue. I'm going to take 1 right off the hero card for Varix and 1 off the hero card for Cyrus. Back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit continue, and it says the Fae is going to be targeting Cyrus. All right, so it's going to be flying, which is nasty. It says after the defense, the target either discards 1 focus token or suffers 2 fatigue. Oof, that's actually really bad. That's going to push me. That'll wound me. That'll knock me out. I'll have to use my Phoenix Ash potion. Okay, hopefully this thing can't reach me. Let's find out. So looking at the game board, I am still very, very lucky. The Fae at the very top of the platform at the edge is going to move 4 towards me, and then it's going to try to do a range shot of 3, which it can't reach Cyrus still, so it's really just going to be traveling towards the weakest hero, which is still Cyrus, and it's just going to be moving at this point. Just like that, the Fae has been resolved, and nobody's getting hit by it. Back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done, and we move on to the bandit. This is the orange-based bandit, which is the one that's down on the ground, kind of hidden underneath the platform. This bandit sprints forward, then backflips into the air, launching knives and bolts in all directions. Move to within 3 spaces of as many heroes as possible. Then this attack targets all heroes within range. Oh my. The great news is this thing only has 2 movements, so it moves up 2 spaces, and that's it. Can't target or attack anybody from this distance. So we'll head back into the app. Back inside the app, you can see it looks like we've got ourselves probably 1 more round worth of attacks before all these reinforcements starts hammering us. This is going to come right down to the wire. Let's hit done. The next one is Necrul. This is where the pain really comes. The red mist around the Blood Witch rise and churns. After defense, each hero within 3 spaces, the Blood Witch scars each card with 1 or more on it, or 1 or more fatigue on it. Then they discard the fatigue. So this is really going to hit us bad because everyone's within range. So this is really nasty. The target is Varix. So this Necrul will move 1 space, and that's the most movement it can possibly get because it's impeded anyway. It can only move 1, but as of where it's currently situated, it has to still be within range. So what I'm going to do is it's going to move backwards towards the back corner, just 1. So as you can see on the table, it created a little bit of separation by moving a bit north in that back corner, but it's getting pretty trapped. Varix is going to go ahead and roll a defensive die here, hopefully able to block this attack. 4 damage coming through. Let's see how we do. Wow, that was a pretty good roll. So we got an advantage, a success, and a surge. Okay, the surge will give me a success, and I can discard a condition token, so I can finally get rid of, let's say, the scar. I'll ditch the scar because it's even nastier, I think, than the infection. Perfect. So I get, from the surge, I get an extra success. We have 2 successes, and do I want to convert to have 3? Probably. I don't really want to take too much damage, so let's go ahead and put this fatigue. We'll convert an advantage. We'll put it on the Warbell. So now we have 3 successes. Only 1 damage gets through, knocking me from a 3 down to a 2. And in hindsight, before I resolve the ability, I'm going to go ahead and actually take that back. I'd rather keep the scar there because we know a scar is coming back to the card from Necrul anyway. I'd rather get rid of the infection because it'll actually stay away. So right now, Necrul's ability triggers everybody within 3 spaces that has fatigue on a card gets a scar on that card. So that's why I kind of retroactively changed that. So a scar there, a scar on the Warbell, and then we'll be going over to Cyrus. He'll be getting a scar on the hero card as well as his Glimmering Wand. And this is pretty nasty. Pretty nasty indeed. All right, Necrul, your turn is done. Inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done, and the bandit gets to activate next. This is the one with the teal bottom. There's no way this thing's reaching me, but it's going to move 3 spaces, and that's it. So essentially, all the enemies are now down on the lower platform on the ground with us, but outside of range. So heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done. It says the archway trembles as the ground shakes beneath your feet. Each hero on tile 18B, terrifies 1 card. So what does a terrified token do? Well, when time passes, suffer 1 fatigue on each terrified card. Well, we certainly have to be careful where we place this, because if we place this on a card that's already got a max fatigue, then it's going to drip over to our health dial, which is going to push us towards an injury, which is going to push us towards losing. So let's try to avoid that. We'll place this over here for now. Over here with Cyrus, we'll do the same thing. We'll place this on Cyrus's hero card. Things are looking really, really sketchy right now, but back inside the app, we can go ahead and hit continue. Please stop the pain. The bandit crouches low, daggers out, and beckons you forward with a flick of one of their rusted tips. Now, this is something I need to start talking about, and I haven't mentioned yet. You'll notice it not only names certain characters, but will show the base color. This is giving you a heads up that something nasty is coming from a particular enemy. We've seen this already, but I haven't actually stopped to talk about it. So if the app happens to name somebody and give you information like this, don't just run straight by it. Now, in my case, I am going to kind of run straight by because I'm really focusing on just trying to take out the witch. But, you know, in other situations where you're trying not to just go after one individual for an objective and you're just trying to clear the enemies out, go after the ones that the app is highlighting as likely powering up to put some serious damage on you. We'll go ahead and hit continue, and now we roll back into the hero phase, where I really hope we can put enough damage on this thing, but I'm kind of skeptical. So going into this hero phase, a couple things to mention around my strategy here. Cyrus has the Phoenix Ash Potion. As soon as his 1 health goes down to 0, then he can use that potion before he's wounded to set the health dial back to 4 instead. So it keeps him going. On Varrix's side, he has a Vigor Potion that he can actually heal 3, which he might want to use right away in order to keep his health up to avoid that major injury that's incoming. I can also discard Fatigue with it, but that's not of concern right now. So I think either one of my heroes are not going to bother healing the opposite hero. They're going to keep what they have, and my plan will be just to deal, you know, they're going to basically handle themselves independently. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to have Varrix actually move forward 1 position. He's going to activate first, and we're going to throw as much damage on him as possible with the Warbell. So Varrix has moved in position. We're also going to go ahead now on our turn and consume the Vigor Potion that Varrix has. This is going to give 3 health boost from 2 up to 5. Doing anything I can at this point to bump up our health and stay alive for probably another round. I think we're going to need this round and next round in order to take this witch out. So we'll head inside the app with Varrix. We're going to drag over to the witch, and we're using our Warbell here. We still have the subtraction of a success if I wish, which I'm definitely going to do, so there's no more scarring. Actually, you know what? You know what? It's funny, because at this point it says, during the attack, subtract success, or each hero within 3 spaces of the enemy scars 1 card. At this point, every single card I have is scarred. So I'd much rather, if I get a choice out of the 2, I'm just going to take the one that scars, because guess what? You can't actually be scarred any further, rather than subtracting a success anymore. So I'm just going to stop worrying about this price to pay ability from this point onwards. So that means I actually get all my successes for the first time. So let's go ahead and roll a blue die here and see if we can get enough successes to do some damage. All right, we got ourselves a Surge. Based on the card, we get 2 successes and we can expose the enemy. So 1, 2, we get to expose, and we'll confirm it. That knocks it down by 8 damage this time. Pretty good attack, even though I only got 1 Surge. Well, let's go ahead and do another one, because I want better damage than that at this point. So we're going to go ahead and roll again. Give me more symbols than that. Ah, just another Surge. Okay, so we'll go 1, 2. I don't think there's anything else I can do here to generate things. I guess I could spend 2... Oh, no, I don't have the availability. I'm maxed out on Fatigue on my hero card, or almost. So I can't generate my hero Surge, unfortunately, using the Survivor skill. So, yeah, it's just 2 in the app and exposed, and we'll continue forward with a confirm. Just like that, 5 damage. We're getting down there, 22. Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen this round, but we're getting so close. If we can survive, we might be able to pull this off. So that's going to do it for Varrix. Now we're going to switch out the die because Cyrus is already adjacent and is ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and drag his portrait up for an attack. He at least gets the advantage this time of not having to minus a success, plus his weapon has the correct damage type for the weakness with the Glimmering Wand. So let's go ahead now that we're in the battle screen. We're going to roll for Cyrus here and see how he does. Got ourselves 2 successes. This one just kind of rolled off camera there. That's pretty good. Can we add to this in any way? After you roll, convert, nope. Advantages, nope. Nothing else, and nope. So 2 successes going into the app, 1, 2, and we'll hit confirm right now. That is an 8 damage hit. Pretty good, pretty good. We're gonna be very close, very close. Let's go ahead and do this attack one more time. Cyrus over to Necrul, and we're gonna go Glimmering Wand. Let's get a big time hit here. Come on, something major. Oh, there we go. We got 3 there, although technically, yeah, we can convert that 1 to make it 3. So let's take a Fatigue. But before we do this, ooh, I just remembered. Oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting. So we're going to have to stop for a second because I should have suffered fatigue from my last attack. So by placing that fatigue on Cyrus's hero card, which I'm doing right now, I'm now maxed out for fatigue. So if I choose to, on this next attack, go ahead and convert that advantage, I place a fatigue, it now goes against my health, which knocks me out and wounds me, but I can then use my Phoenix Potion immediately to stop the wound, to dial myself back up to 4, and then I still have to place an additional fatigue for my frustrated minor injury. Just so you guys can see how this ends up playing out, this is what I rolled, 2 successes and an advantage, but just to clean up the last attack, I placed a fatigue here because of this minor nasty injury here, which adjusts how much fatigue I'm placing on my hero whenever I do an attack. I have to put 1. So I placed it on my hero card, that maxes out everything here. So now in this next attack where I roll this and I want to change that advantage to a success, I take another hit of fatigue, which has to go against my health, dropping me from 1 down to 0. And then I immediately use the Phoenix Ash Potion on my turn before I'm wounded to set my health dial back up to 4 instead. So basically this dial is just going to tick right back up to 4. We've already converted this success, so we technically have 3 successes going in, which is fantastic. We'll input that into the app. And there's still another point of fatigue that will need to be placed on Cyrus when we're finished the attack, remember, because the minor injury will trigger again because we attacked. So we're going to go in the app and go 1, 2, and 3. So this is a decent attack. Dropping him down to 4. Oh, so close. 10 damage. Oh, it's brutal. Okay, but we are going to place 1 fatigue on Cyrus, nowhere to put it because all the cards are maxed out, so his health knocks from 4 down to 3. That is absolutely brutal. I can't believe we got it down to 4, and we're going to have to go through a whole round of attacks right now, which are probably all going to land. So this is where things go south. Can we hold up with all the damage that's incoming and still have enough to be able to take out this witch? It's going to be crazy. All right, so we're going to go into the app right now, and we're going to click end phase. So we're clicking on end phase, moving into the darkness phase, and it states resolve your infection and terror. So let's do that right now. If I take a look around, actually, we only have terror in play for Varix, so that is going to be 1 fatigue being placed on his hero card, which does have room for it, thankfully. So it's going to bump him up to his max of 3. But then it says each hero may discard 1 fatigue. So really, I'm going to go ahead and just take that fatigue right off that I just put on to Varix's card. And then over here on Cyrus, I'm going to go ahead and remove the one that's on in power because I want to be able to make a bigger hit later on. So, and that's also going to help with him not having damage run, or I should say fatigue being placed and running over to his health. So we'll go ahead and hit continue. First up is going to be the Teal Bandit this time. You'll see that the order of operations in terms of the enemies changes. But this time it says during the defense, the first time the hero places a fatigue on a card, they also scar it. That's if we choose to place fatigue. So the Teal Bandit's going to move 3 and a range of 2. If I go 1, 2, 3, just looking at the game board, it looks like it's not going to make it. As you can see, the Teal Bandit has run up adjacent to the Fae, and that's as far as he can go, and 2 spaces away range-wise, cannot target either of our heroes right now, so we are safe from this attack. Back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done. Thankfully, we avoided 1. Now the Fae is going to go. This is the one that I'm almost positive is going to reach us. So it's moving 4. It can attack from 3 range away for sure. And it says after the defense, the target either discards 1 focus or suffers 2 fatigue. So that's pretty bad. And it's a 4 damage attack. Let's find out where the Fae lands. Looking at the table, that's where the Fae has moved to. It is now within range of 3 of Cyrus. We're going to roll the die for Cyrus for defense. We really need lots of defense here. All right, just 2 successes, so that's going to drop the 4 down to a 2 damage hit. And then it states after the defense, the target either discards 1 focus, which I don't have, or suffers 2 fatigue. And unfortunately, I only have space for 1, so I'll take an additional damage on top of it. So 3 damage going through will actually push Cyrus into a wounded major injury. So just so you guys can actually see this happen, the 1 fatigue gets placed on and that maxes things out. The next one goes on, but it can't go anywhere, so that trickles over to damage. We know we have 2 damage from the attack, 1 from this fatigue. Wiping out the dial completely, we reset it back to the top health of the hero, but this is the last time that happens, and we now go inside the app. We're going to let it know that this hero is wounded. So we'll quickly go ahead and hit interrupt inside the app. We're going to go to Cyrus and we're going to say wound the hero. And it says wound Cyrus? Yes, indeed, unfortunately. Cyrus must flip their injury card. So remember the minor frustrated injury that we have? We're flipping that over to the opposite side and we'll go ahead and resume activation. On the table now, you'll see the injury we have has morphed into a major one. It says after your attack, suffer a hit and fatigue. Now, that's even more pleasant. Now for me, at this stage in the game, this works out perfectly fine. And don't worry, I know I have the antidote potion, and I am going to probably use it to get rid of the scars and also the other condition I have on me, terror for Cyrus. But the thing you have to realize is every single time that witch attacks, it just keeps putting scars on cards that have fatigue. So the antidote potion basically washes things away to then have all those things come back. So I'm really kind of hoping that other conditions will land and I can wipe them away, because I have no drive whatsoever to flip these cards over and take scar damage of 2. I'm leaving them exactly the way they're set up, and I'm going to continue to hammer on this enemy. But you can see how the game can lock you into a position where you don't have as much freedom to flip your cards to the sides you want to generate the abilities you want because of all these conditions landing on them. So it's pretty crazy. So heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit done. One thing that I missed, and I probably shouldn't have missed, this only harmed me, was you'll see that the ability says after defense, each hero within 3 spaces gets a scar on each card with 1 or more fatigue on it, but then it says they discard a fatigue from each card. I haven't been taking advantage of the discarding of the fatigue in situations where I have scars on everything, and I haven't done everything for the past 2 rounds, I want to say. So I missed out on maybe getting rid of some fatigue there, but I do have some questions around whether or not I get to discard fatigue when I'm not placing scars on each card. Like, are those things combined or are those 2 separate steps? It does say then, so it sounds like it's all part of the same step. Like, I always get that advantage of discarding a fatigue. At least that's how I'm thinking of playing it, but I haven't been playing it very well. So going into this next attack here, so Varix is not, I shouldn't say Varix, Necrul is not moving anywhere. He's going to stay exactly where he is. He's impeded. He can move 1, but it doesn't change anything. He's going to make an attack against Varix, and Varix needs to roll. So let's grab a defensive die here and see how this goes. I'm trying to block 4 damage coming through, and I got 2 advantages. Ugh, that's not good, because he already has... Yeah, I guess going ahead and spending 1 fatigue to convert makes sense, because now he's maxed out. That blocks 1 damage, so 3's coming through, which drops his health from 5 down to 2. Yikes, so we're getting really close to Varix getting a major injury. We'll go ahead and hit done inside the app. Next up we have, oh, and one thing I don't want to forget, we'll discard a fatigue based on that abilities from Varix's hero card and Cyrus's hero card. So the orange bandit now is going to move 3 to attack an adjacent target, so we might actually be really safe here. Safe for now anyway. We moved 3, nothing's adjacent, it's heading towards Varix, that's as close as it can get, so we are done with that activation. We go ahead into the app. So we'll hit done, moving on. It says a massive fireball shoots out of the shimmering red surface. It explodes with a blast powerful enough to knock you off your feet. Each hero on or adjacent to a highlighted space flips 1 card with a scar token on it. That's not good, and thankfully we are nowhere near where that tile actually shows on this game board. Thank goodness. So we're gonna go ahead and hit continue. It says the bandit, or the orange bandit, pulls out several knives with 1 hand and raises a fully loaded repeating crossbow. We've seen this before, so we know a nasty attack's coming from the orange one. If we need to adjust after we kill Necrul to take out that orange bandit, that will be my next target. We'll go ahead and hit continue. We're rolling back into the hero phase, and we are going to remove Necrul from this situation. Taking a look at the tabletop and the current setup of things, I know my focus is on Necrul. I think I'm going to have Cyrus activate first in the hero phase because his damage type is perfect to put, hopefully maybe 1 attack is all we need to wipe this thing out. So let's go ahead into the app and do it. Inside the app, drawing from Cyrus over to this witch, and it's the glimmering wand. Come on, this is going to be the attack. Now, we have to remember when Cyrus does his attack, he's going to take a damage and a fatigue from it because of his raging major injury. Not fun. Okay, let's go ahead and roll an orange die here. See how many successes we can put on this thing. Go ahead and roll. We got ourselves 2 advantages. Ugh. Okay, so we can convert 1 of them. So that will turn one of them to a success, which we'll definitely do. We can't take scars anymore, so that ability is not terrifying in the least. So just 1 success going through, that's actually really bad. Maybe I shouldn't have activated Cyrus first, or maybe I should turn and deal with somebody else, because his attacks are not that great right now. Plus he's taking damage and fatigue from just his major injury, so that might not have been a good idea. So 1 in the app, and there's no statuses for this particular weapon, so I doubt it's going to do too much damage. Yeah, 1 damage, not so great. Probably just because of the damage type is the only reason I got something there. So That was not a wise choice. What I think I'll do instead of just pecking away, I'll leave maybe Varix with his D12 to deal with. Oh, but what if I mess? What if I mess up and I'm not able to pull it off? You know, I kind of need to just keep going with this, I think. Yeah, because I don't think I'm going to have enough damage regardless to take out one of the minions. So let's just make sure we take out Necruels. That's the main objective. So let's go into the app, draw again, make another attack, even if it's somewhat weak. We're going to do our best here. So the one thing I can't forget is I got to place a fatigue, which means I can't. So I take a damage, and then I take another damage. Actually, oh, it ends up being 2 damage because of the raging major injury. Oh, that's nasty. So I'm going from 7 down to 5 after that attack. Whew. Well, Cyrus, let's see what you can do, because this is going to hurt you again. 2 successes. Okay, yikes. 2 successes going into the app here. 1, 2, and confirm. Is that enough? Yes, it is enough. Cyrus, you did it, although you'll be taking 2 more damage because you're going to take from your raging major injury suffering a damage, and then another fatigue, which then converts to a damage. So Cyrus is going to drop from 5 down to 3, but we did it. We did it, and I'm going to go ahead and drop that dial right now. So he's down to 3. He's so close to death. Literally 3 hit points away from a loss. As you toss your final blow at her, she staggers backwards, exhausted. You haven't seen the last of me, Necruel snarls. She drags her dagger across her palm and with a twisted smile vanishes before your eyes. From the archway, there is a rumble as the shimmering red surface crashes to the ground, sending a wave of blood over you. The heroes win. We did it. We literally just barely did it. Shouts of alarm become cries of happiness throughout the forest as members of the caravan find their missing friends and family. Everyone alive? Unhurt? We'll live. What was that? A thuck magic. Looked like a weak sort of a portal. Looked like a weak sort of a portal. She was talking to a demon, but it couldn't come through from, I can't even pronounce that, to here. I'm not going to try to say that. It was weak. Does that mean she was a weak sorcerer? Is she defeated? No, things are only going to get worse from here. That woman was a blood sister, the highest rank Athuk witch. She will try again, bigger. This was only her opening move. It was a weak portal, but I think she did exactly what she set out to do. If she wants to open a full portal to let that demon into the real world, I think we have to assume she can. She can. You're not just going to let it happen, though, are you? No, we're not. Come back to Frostgate with me, my mother's house. My house has plenty of room. We'll figure out our next steps. Wonderful. I'm sure we'll all become fast friends. We'll see. And we're done. So a Night's Watch main quest completed. It shows all the items we obtained in here. It also talks about the time it took to do the quest. One thing I have to mention here is, again, I'm filming this off camera and then editing it. So the total time to complete here is not 8 hours and 21 minutes. If I was playing this with 0 explanations and I was ripping through, I'm not sure exactly how much it would be, but it's probably like 1/8 of that time. It's probably around a little over an hour or so. So don't take that as how long this first scenario takes to play, because it does not. Here's all the items that I collected. So I actually did pretty good. I don't think I left too much behind. The one thing I remember not doing is I didn't go get a coin from the chest and toss it in the well to see what would happen. So maybe that's something somebody can try to see what that potentially gives you. And of course, based on your successes, when you interact with different things, you get different items. You don't always get the same things. So it's not just a given, right? We'll go ahead and hit continue in the app and see what happens next. I think we're heading to Frostgate or Grave. Forget which one it is. Frostgate. After completing each quest, the heroes automatically travel back to the city of Frostgate. Traveling costs nothing, but the heroes will frequently encounter other characters and events along the way that will help or harm your cause. Go ahead and hit continue. This is really cool. The party meets a small caravan on a journey from Felgrim to the north to Greyhaven. Cyrus is excited to learn that the caravan is that of one Master Gaunt, a young orc mage of growing renown who had been a few years ahead of Cyrus during his studies in Greyhaven. I found your treatise on the nature of elemental flame to be particularly enlightening, Cyrus tells Gaunt. Gaunt chews thoughtfully on a bitter root, her eyes lingering on Indris far more than on Cyrus. "I've heard a little of your exploits," she says. "Full of surprises, aren't you? But even so, I'm surprised you are out here wandering rather than in Greyhaven, where you can hone your craft." So, we have a choice here. We can choose ambition or we can choose optimism. It says if a mage could become great in a library, every mage would be. Or I find helping people more fulfilling than academics. I think I'm going to go for ambition this time around. So go ahead and click on that. "I'm not neglecting my studies, I assure you," Cyrus explains, "and there is something rather invigorating about reading by the light of a campfire when there may be a thook about. And besides," and Cyrus gestures broadly, taking in the whole of Forthen and beyond, "my travels of late have brought me to knowledge and understanding I could have never gotten from even the best library. Timoran did not become great for always returning his books on time after all." Gaunt chuckles at that. "I suppose I cannot fault you. As a traveler myself, I hope this cavalier attitude does not become your undoing." Gaunt quickly moves away from the subject and they talk for a time of the rune shard research Gaunt had been doing in Thelgrim until it is time for the party to set out once more. Hit continue, and what happens next? Bryn leads her fellows through the street of Frostgate. Stone roadhouses mark important clan holdings, while timber longhouses, taverns, and workshops line the streets. Bryn's house is large, its wings unfolding around a scraggly little garden. The bare timber of the frame over the door is carved with fanciful clan folk designs. "You live here? It's nice." "It belonged to my mother. She was an adventurer. She had some money. She was well respected by the clans, kin to the Thane." A blond man with a clan folk kilt and a warm smile stands in the doorway. "Welcome home, child. This is Ronan." I think people will recognize that character. "Uncle Ronan, Ronan, these are my companions, everyone. This is Ronan, a clan meditator and kin to my mother." Greetings to you, Ronan of the Wild. I have heard of you." "Ronan of the Wild, eh? I haven't gone by that name in years. Come inside, everyone." The group enters the house and divests themselves of their traveling gear. Soon, all are gathered in the house's long common room. "Uncle Ronan, we found a watchtower that had been overrun by the Athuk. We need to send a message to the Baroness." "No need for that. You can tell me in person." "Wow. Aunt Adeline, why aren't you in Highmount?" "Ah, this is some sort of family reunion?" "Aunt Adeline? Bryn? I have no idea what you were nobility." Introductions are made all around. The Baroness is polite, if reserved. "Charmed to meet all of you. As for why I am not in Highmount, things are not going well, Bryn. The Athuk threaten us all across the barony. Bandits and criminals are worse than ever. I've even gotten word that the undead are stirring in the Mistlands. Refugees have been pouring into Frostgate. We are the only city in the north large enough to accept them. The Baroness has been negotiating with the clan elders to make Forthen's people aren't turned away to make sure Forthen's people aren't turned away at the gates. Shouldn't the Baroness be taking the battle to the Athuk and protecting her people? What a good question, shouldn't she? She should. She will, beginning now. Bryn, I'd like to ask you and your friends for help." We're not her friends. Help with what? "Apparently, you've already seen that the Athuk are at large in my barony. My soldiers cannot even defend every watchtower, let alone every town and village. And when new threats or opportunities appear, I have no assets to spare. In short, I need adventurers. You six are just what I'm looking for." "We six?" "These are Kelly, Deepfire, and Chance." Hey, there we go. I remember there was somebody on the channel that was really excited to see Chance. I believe it was Chance out of the two of these. So there you go. This is where they get introduced. The dwarf has a certain swagger to her as she enters the room, smiling and nodding. The Hernix catfolks lurks in her shadow, ears flat against his head and tail lashing. "Pleased to meet ya. I hear you mun help me with a little problem." Mistress Deepfire is a skilled artisan. Some of her guild mates have been forced to take shelter not far away, evading Athuk war parties. I need a few brave souls to come and help lead them to safety. I'm sure the Forge Smiths Guild would reward our bravery. And I believe I mentioned the brigands who have been stealing supplies meant for the refugees. That's me, I guess. I mean, I'm not a brigand, but I know where to find them. Maybe get the supplies back. I'm happy to help them, my lady, but how? With what soldiers? What resources? I can't just fix your mess with good intentions. You 6, you are a quick thinker, aren't you, Baroness? At times, your company now includes trained warriors, at least one skilled wizard, and a dragon hybrid who, unless I miss my guess, has more experience and wisdom than everyone else in this room put together. I will agree to this so long as we understand that fighting the Athuk is our most important objective. You may have cause to regret that proclamation. There are other enemies as evil as the Athuk and far more powerful. Fine, but I'll have a condition. We operate out of this house, not Highmount, and we allow Kelly and Chance to join us if, then none of them answer to you. We're a company of equals, not soldiers in your army. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'll leave you to it. The Baroness and Ronan depart, leaving the 4 companions alone. Even the dwarf and the Hirnix, if I'm even pronouncing that right, have excused themselves. This is very exciting. What should we do first? 2 quests are now available. Each quest unlocks a new hero for your party. Read the quest briefings for more details. Interesting. Welcome to the city of Frostgate. The city is home to the heroes during the campaign. Here they can prepare by visiting the armory, craft hall, and shop. Read the campaign rules section starting on page 26. And I highly recommend that you check out that campaign rules section because it is quite detailed and will really help you understand what's going on here inside the app when you come to Frostgate. So go ahead and hit continue inside the app. It says, after the heroes have completed their time in the city, select the map button in the bottom right hand corner to return to the world map and select the next destination. So we'll hit continue. Gain the following cards. We're going to gain Rallying Cry, Battle Cry for Bryn, Shared Pain, Shared Energy for Cyrus, Prowess and Flow for Gladian, and Destiny's Call, Fate's Embrace for Varix. I've gone ahead and pulled the cards out for Varix and Cyrus. Destiny's Call is for Varix. It states on the one side here, for 1 fatigue during your or another hero's attack, doom the enemy, and it also gives us an additional 2 fatigue. And over here for Cyrus, we have Shared Pain. It says for 1 unique action, heal 1 health for each fatigue on this card, and then we flip the card. Just to give you an idea what's on the opposite side of the card, this one says Shared Energy for 1 unique action. Focus 1 card for each fatigue on this card, then flip it again. On the opposite side of Varix's card, it says Fate's Embrace for 1 unique action. Attack an enemy. During the attack, add 2 successes. After this attack, flip the card. Heading back inside the app, we'll go ahead and hit continue as we've gotten the cards we need. It says you've gained 1 XP. Heroes may now use skills with a total amount of XP cost equal to your current XP. So because we gained 1 XP, you'll notice in the cards I showed you, it stated 1 XP. So we're allowed to use that card. Hitting continue, it states Callie and Chance both start with 1 skill. So gain the following cards. We got some skill cards. I won't show you these right now. Basically, these characters now have those skills as well. They get added into the pool, and here we are at the main screen. So Frostgate is one of the free cities of the Kingdom of Terrinoth. While not subject to the barony of Forthen, it exists within its borders and is both ally and a rival. The city is a home to the heroes during the campaign, and they can return to it between quests. They can visit various locations and buy materials, as well as gather information from residents of the bustling metropolis. The city has 3 featured locations that the heroes can visit. The Craft Hall, which is in blue, as you can see here, is an important way that the heroes can gain power throughout the campaign, is to craft and upgrade your equipment. The craft hall allows the heroes to spend their recipes, materials, and essences they have gained to craft and upgrade equipment. So it mentions that all right here. We'll go ahead and hit continue. It further explains more about the crafting mechanisms within this game and then lists it out here. We'll go back for a second and check out another one. We have the armory on the far left-hand side. The armory allows the heroes to modify the parts of their weapons so that they can optimize for their upcoming quest, explore new strategies, and customize their play style. So all of this is listed out here, and this is where it is done. Backing out again, we have the shop in the center. The shop contains materials, recipes, sometimes equipment that can be purchased for gold. Additionally, materials can be sold for gold as well. Now, for those of you that don't have the game, I'm going to show you full screenshots here of the campaign rules section of the How to Play booklet, because I think there's a lot of information here that I probably can't sum up very quickly on camera, but you can read it if you wish. This is the section all around campaign rules, talks about equipment, armor restrictions, trinkets, runes, consumables, weapon parts, traits, crafting and upgrading, gold, materials and essences, recipes. And then, as we just talked about moments ago, the city screen, which talks about the craft hall, the armory, the shop, events you're going to run to, feats, skills, and experience, as well as virtues, the campaign map, and the quests that are inside those maps, the preparing and the saving of a campaign, and of course, continuing a campaign. So at this point, we are going to wrap things up for the Legends of the Dark playthrough. Really hope you enjoyed this and it was informative, help you get an idea as to how this game plays. Again, you're only seeing just the very beginnings of this adventure. There's still a whole bunch to do on the in-between stages here inside the app around the campaign. What I really like about it, in toying around with it off camera in terms of the app for these campaign rules, is that it manages so much of the things that these campaign games typically do, but they do with tokens and cards and dice all over the table. So all of the recipes, the armor, the equipment, all that kind of stuff that you're actually dealing with in terms of the broken down pieces you need to create a particular item are all handled in the app. And then you just go after the card that actually represents what you created that goes on the table. I really like that. One of the advantages to all of this in terms of the in-between stages of the campaign being handled inside of the app until you actually get cards that are specifically pulled from the box that then actually make major impacts on gameplay is that, again, you're not needing to tear down your table to set up for a settlement or a campaign stage during your playthrough. You simply wipe the table of the dungeon and get ready to move to the next adventure. And all of the campaign micromanagement and bookkeeping is done inside the app in between, which I absolutely love. So thanks again for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below the things you liked, the things you dislike, and anything you may have caught as I moved through. One thing I will certainly be checking is around Necrul's ability that had that then statement in terms of discarding fatigue. I really want to check to see that that still triggers even when we're not placing scars down on our cards anymore. Is that a separate piece, or is that part of the whole dropping of the scar tokens down? That's something I want to clarify. But beyond that, everything else ran very smoothly, and there was quite a few surprises that came out of this campaign in terms of enemies showing up behind me. I really didn't expect that. I thought it was kind of a go-forward approach where everything that's bad is coming at you from the front, and I thought everything I cleared behind me was safe, but that obviously changed, and we were on the brink of losing because of it. Until the next adventure, thanks for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.